Okay, welcome back. I'm just in the process of replacing the tops on these two knobs. One didn't have a top at all. The other one was quite badly corroded. The one that was corroded, I tried to get it off, but it just would not come. In the end, it was just so bad, it just fell apart. So I found another one off of another R600, which I could have spared, but what I had was two knobs from an R25, which the top panels snapped on it, so it's a scrapper, and I've managed to get the tops off of those. So I've got two pretty good looking tops there. So what I'm going to do now is just pop a little bit of this glue on and let that set up overnight. Again, do not overdo the glue on these, just a little tiny bit. Sound like I know what I'm doing, don't I? Don't glue the outside edges either, just try and glue the inner piece. Cocktail stick again is a weapon of choice. Thousands of uses, these cotton buds and cocktail sticks. That's what you should have. So put that on there. That's that one. Let's do a little bit of muck on this one. It's important to try and get all of the, or as much of the old glue off as you can, because the new glue won't stick to the old, but it will let go pretty soon. So these have been bathed. I tell you, they were absolute devil to get off. So one of the problems with these is the tops fall off, but when you want them to come off, they will not come off. I soaked these for ages in isopropyl to get them to come off. And pulling and prizing. Got there in the end though. Oops, it's being clumsy now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some little clamp on each of these, just to make sure they glue up pumps nice and straight. So I shall leave those overnight, and they should be ready to go tomorrow. Now I'm on to the dial plate next. That's got to have a good clean up. I've given it the once over with a wet wipe. It's come up quite good, but it needs polishing, and there is a couple little tiny bits that I'm going to touch up on it, but luckily this is a really good one, so nothing major. But yeah, this is the next job. Clean this one up and polish it. Okay, that's the dial plate all dried now. The little areas I've just touched in on the back, especially around this bit for some reason. A couple of little tiny spots, but so I have given that a polish. There's one little area there I need to touch up as well. Strange. So I'm just going to touch a couple little bits up that I can see. Then I'm going to be putting it back together. I'm just in the process of reassembling this prior to giving it a bit of an alignment. So I've popped the front faceplate back on. Just going to put the nicely refurbished knobs back on now the glue's dried. zoom out a little bit closer. Just goes on anywhere. There we go. I've remade the speaker connections. I've snipped the ends off the wire and remade those nicely. So I've got some soldering to do in underneath. Just trying to be careful now because I don't want to be scratching it up. So I've just got to resolder the headphone jack and this horrible external aerial socket. So bear with me, I'll get that done. Right, there we are, all back together. Bar a bit of a clean up, and the case obviously, which I've got downstairs, that's all dried now. Yeah, so everything's back in. I've resoldered the headphone socket and the car aerial socket. I've had to resolder the FM wire because that wasn't very well soldered on and fell off when I tried to clip the tag back on there. So that's all done. I've got a wire to replace there, but I'll do that later on. This one has been caught. So what I'm going to do now is set up for the AM alignment. So I've got AM RF to do, and you can't do the IFs on these really because it's all in that module, but you can do a certain amount just to try and bring it up a little bit. Yeah, FM alignment's pretty easy on this one as well by the looks of it, so I'm going to do both on this. Let's see if I can set it up, so bear with me, I'm just going to set myself up and see if I can get it aligned. Okay, welcome back to my video on alignment, which is I am struggling a little bit with, purely because I've sorted out medium wave, all perfect, really good. Turned it on long wave, nothing. Couldn't get a signal into it, really wasn't sure what was going on. So anyway, playing a bit with the wires, occasionally it would come back to life, and I did see a video that Simon Spires did back along where he had the same problem with an R600, where some of these aerial connections are not very good joints. So what I've done, I've gone around, I've made good gone over with flux and fresh soldered all the aerial connections. I've also redone all the aerial connections on the board as well, just to make doubly sure, and lo and behold, now, apart from all the internal noise, we have long wave. Right, just showing you my comms test set here. I'm just setting up for the alignment on AM, medium wave to start with. So basically I'm set up 1500 kilohertz coming out. The receiver is set at the 200 calibration mark. Can't really see it here because I've got it backwards from me at the moment because I'm preparing to change to give it a trim. So you'll see my meter there. If I just turn this up, you'll hear the tone. So it is a little bit off frequency at the moment, very fraction. So what you should hear when I trim it, it should come back in quite nicely. So I've got to adjust the AM oscillator and the aerial trimmer for maximum output. So the AM oscillator is this one down here, it's me touching it. This one, I don't know if you can see that or not, but stick a screwdriver in there, keep that out of the way. So yeah, basically I'm just doing these two. So it reacts to me touching it earthwise, so I'm going to need to do that with a non-metallic screwdriver. Let's see what I've got. Let's go in with this one first. So let's do the AM aerial. I can find the slot. Well, shouldn't be too that trimming tool's too big. Let's try the next size down, but that's probably is too small then. It's gone from one extreme to the other. Let's try one of these. Volume on that a little bit. So it's brought it into line now. Just do it the best I can. Back into the oscillator. Well, that's that one done. I'm not sure if you could see that or not. I've got my screwdrivers right in front of the meter display, but I think you could see the meter moving up. Just give it another go. So that's on 1 at the moment. Let's see if I can improve that. A little bit. That's about as good as I'm going to get that. So I've brought it up certainly a bit, and it's brought it back in line now. If you see the little calibration mark, I don't know if you can see that or not. It's not brilliant light in here today for some reason. Zoom you in a bit. So yeah, the calibration mark on this one is just here, so 200 meters mark. So that's bang on now. So next it wants me to tune it to the 536 mark. So there's a little tiny dot on the scale. I don't know if you can just about see it there. Let's get you into camera shot. Just here. There's a little tiny dot. I don't know if you can see that in this light or not. Just underneath, just to the right of the 550 mark. So I've got to tune to that. Make sure that's absolutely bang on. There. Back the other way again. I've got to adjust my signal now to 560 kilocycles, so 560k. Hang on, cancel that. Frequency 5 to 60 kilohertz. So Got to adjust the AM oscillator coil again. And slide L2, which is this one, up and down for maximum output. Definitely on medium wave, aren't I? Yeah. Ooh. Right, so first of all then, oscillator coil, let's turn them up a bit. And then adjust this one. Slot now. So I've got to repeat the operation for optimum results, finishing with number 2. So we'll go back to 1500. Let's get you out. You can't see any of this, can you? My apologies, it's difficult to set this up because my test gear is too far away from the radio that I'm testing. So yeah, basically I'm going back to 1500 kilohertz, injecting a signal in back down to the 200 meter mark on the scale. Where are we? There. Now I can hear nothing there. It's way off now. down to lower signal level. Go back and do the other one again, so 560 kilohertz. Tune down to the other side. There we go. Cool. What a faff. That's the AM medium wave side done. Now we need to switch to long wave. Seems to be works better rested on top there. Well, you know, whatever works. So 200 calibration mark again, feeding 263k. Okay, the electrics are all done. All the electronic bits are done. I've done an alignment on it. Pretty much gone to town. It's really had the works. As you see, I've cleaned the volume pot. So what I thought I'd do now is give it a run through before I put it back in the case, really. I have had to change the speaker because although this one looks physically okay, it was rasping a very sort of like, almost like a broken speaker cone sort of sound. I really don't know what's wrong with it, but I did have a spare one, so I put that in. A bit more than I wanted to do really, but end of the day it's got to be right. I'm not going to send it out not right. So let's have a little listen and see what it's capable of. We'll start on medium wave. Got it hooked up with a battery.
I live in a small village. Got a great bus service. If I want to go to the hospital, the only way I can really...
Medium wave. Pretty sensitive, it is picking up quite a lot of stations.
And soon? I'm being assessed next week, actually.
Ah.
I'm going down from...
Michael Bublé and Hollywood here on BBC Radio Wales, and we're talking travelling now. I've been to
Radio
Hollywood.
Wales.
How you're going to get...
Over the years, living two problems after.
You're listening to Andy Bush with the no repeat guarantee.
So as you can hear, working really well. Not that anybody uses it anymore. Let's go long wave. French station. Unfortunately, that's my light.
Visiting professor at Birmingham City University explained.
Perfect.
There was a time when History inventé le stéthoscope, ça paraît.
So there we are. That's a long wave. Let's try. I won't put the telescopic up yet. Let's pop clip on that and we'll check the FM.
In the 1867 Reform Act,
responses from people about it.
No, they just think it's like these people shouldn't do it.
Cool. Try the tone. Perfect. AFC, that's off. So as you say, pop it back. Pulls the channel in perfectly, so AFC's working bang on.
Please dive on the lines and the text.
Live on digital radio and on FM. This is The Voice.
That's our local radio station.
We're joined by YouTube's Casper Lee today, and it's going to be a good one. I can just feel it.
There we go. All done. Really pleased with that. God, been a struggle. I must admit, there's quite a few faults that were on this one, but all sorted. I've just fixed the aerial coils in place with some insulation tape. I was going to hot glue them, but there's a bit sort of over the top hot glue in it. It just never be able to be done again. You never get the stuff off. So there we go. I'm going to pop that one back in the case, and then off to eBay it goes. Thanks for watching. Okay, well here we have the finished radio all back together. Just really the parts I've changed. As I say, the speaker's been swapped out for a better one. The module, this is the one out of this set. So I've put a refurbished one in there with the AF125 transistors in it, brand new ones. And this is the capacitors that I changed, mainly in the audio section actually. I say that one there was dead short, the others are like way out of spec, so they've been changed as well for good quality Vichy ones, or Philips if I think there's a couple Philips in there and a couple Vichys, so all good. And obviously I've changed the capacitors in the module as well, as I showed in an earlier video. So there we are. I just thought I'd pop it up on the bench. I've been and taken some photos of it, ready for going on a popular auction site. Let's turn it on.
Super content. Ah ouais? Elles m'ont demandé, elles m'ont dit c'est toi qui présente parce que j'ai
So long wave, picking up all the usual noise from my light, etc. Medium wave.
Hardest decision we've had to make.
Celtic Forest and his awful...
Genuine tears.
Very genuine tears.
The Mercy one as well. Of course, been terrible since then. Okay, the next topic.
And VHF, pop the AFC on. Put the aerial's dead straight on this one and the original with the swivel.
Kiss It Better, it's Radio 1. Alan Walker Bailey coming up, and Biffy Clyro.
Up and down major hills, and if anyone says that Essex is flat, it definitely isn't. From Epping to Ongar, we think is... Well, I think we all think is the worst part of the walk, because we've done it in stages so that we know what we're doing, we know what we're...
So there we are, one finished radio. As I say, I've refinished the sides again with Danish oil. You can see there's a nice sheen to those. The strap had a couple splits in it, so I've swapped it around so those splits are now on the back, and I've also used some good quality leather glue to just make sure that doesn't come apart again in the future. A nice little clean up, and there we are, ready to go on eBay. So I hope you enjoyed this series. Sorry it's the third one of these that I've done, but I like to sort of share it with you, and they've all got their own little faults really. As I say, this one was a bit unusual in that it had some dead shorts on one of the capacitors. Also some dodgy joints on the long wave section, which I've sorted, and of course the module, which is standard on all of these. That does need to be done. So there you go, a lot of work's gone into it, so fingers crossed it'll go for the asking price. So join me again soon, and I'll have another one for you to look at.